want to go extensively, I will personally consider making amendment to the Act, because there are lots of conflicting and converging complexities here, and my colleagues have distilled them. So there's no point for me to go into it. I go to the plenary, and then we'll probably prepare a bill to amend.
Thank you. When Engineer CEO will attempt to answer these questions raised, as soon as they leave, we'll go into a closed session for 5 minutes, and then we'll close it. Please, go ahead.
Thank you, Chairman. Distinguished Senator, the governor's maker, as is known, a real estate professional, and the kingmaker. Let me speak to very briefly about the point that you raised. You're quite right that there is an urgent need to take steps to increase the housing stock. There is no doubt about that, and we couldn't agree with you more. And that's why, as you know, in every business, supply is a function of demand. And so if the demand is low because people can't afford it, or they don't have means to get mortgages, then of course it would affect the willingness for people to increase the housing stock. So that's why we believe that this addresses that issue of housing stock. The second point you made, sir, is around PFAs and pension. You're also quite right. The pension fund has been growing significantly, but the law establishing PENCOM and the administration of those funds is very clear as to the conditions to draw from those funds. You have to create instruments that are in accordance with the regulations that have been laid down for the PFAs to invest into it. An example, for us to even get them to invest in this, there are a couple of things we must do. We would have done a risk management proposition that if they are going to invest, what type of risk are there and what are the mitigants? In this case, if we want them to invest in an instrument where the rate of payment is 12%, that is below their own repayments. So the part of government is to de-risk it by providing the money that would be at a subordinated interest rate. That's how you can get a blended rate that is below MPR. That is the reason, that's the only way they can invest in it, because they cannot take pensioners' money and give at a rate that is below MPR. That is one. The second is also a governance structure. The governance structure has to be where it is very clear that there is a fund manager who is licensed by SEC that will be managing that fund. None of the government agencies we're talking about is a fund manager licensed by SEC to manage money that the pension funds will put their money into. The other aspect of it is that the actual exit and the entry and the exits have to be well defined. The fund has to be rated by one of the credit agencies, credit rating, whether it's GCR or Augusto and Co. to be rated. All of those things, those conditions have to be met for them to put the money into the fund. And it's the same thing for other international investors as well. They want to see that structure. And that's why even us in government are subscribers to the fund that is standing outside. But with the view that ultimately once the fund is successful, it helps in the delivering of the responsibility of government, which is to provide housing for our people. And then finally, the issue around helping Nigerians own houses. Clearly, we've been engaging all of these institutions that you're talking about. And like I mentioned, this does not in any way prevent them from delivering on their mandate. If anything, it helps them deliver on their mandate. Whether it is Federal Housing Authority, like I mentioned, we cannot be building houses where you cannot find buyers. It doesn't make any sense. And so the provision of MRIF to provide mortgages makes the building of those houses even more attractive, to the extent where they should be able to raise money from other investors to build more houses because there are buyers for it. So we're providing the demand for the houses that they will be building. If we talk about Federal Mortgage Bank, it's the same thing. Federal Mortgage Bank can also access these funds like any other mortgage bank to write mortgages for the people that come to them.
Thank you.
As far as we are concerned, what we're doing actually helps what they are supposed to do, and we're collaborating with them. We've engaged all of them, and we continue to engage them to make sure that together we're successful to deliver on the housing sector. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, MD. We'll allow you to go for now. If need be,